Hello, I am Anderson Cowan, and I have got a movie to make, and this is Loaded for Bear. Let's make this movie week 21 of 36 weeks. I'm just going to start saying episode 21 of 36 episodes because, we are condensing some things and not always being every Friday like we were because of situations like this where we have some new announcements and doing things a little bit differently this week for those of you listening and or watching. We are going to be using the producers meeting, at least a portion of the producers meeting this week in this feed. So those of you who are not a part of the producers meeting, which is most of you, and it must be frustrating as listeners to be hearing me, talk about the producers meeting, and then we talk about this, and I'm not allowed to say to you guys, but it happened on the producers meeting, and I just thought I'd give you a little taste and give you a little behind the curtain, and so you can see what the producers meetings look like. And this is a pretty good turnout. It's about average of what we normally have. A lot of familiar faces. I'm always feeling really good every single Friday when I check in and I see these people and hear from these people as well. Sometimes they're in the middle of their busy work day and they're still getting work done. A lot of the time we have like fun backgrounds and stuff. And I like to think that it's everyone's favorite part of their day, at least when they're doing stuff. No, Joe said no. Very rude, Joe. Very very hurtful.
No,
but
it's a hard no.
These are hugely valuable in a project like this where there's so many moving parts and we're scattered all over the country. And to just kind of do a check in and see how everyone's doing, and a lot of brainstorming goes on. Ideas have come out of this meeting numerous times. In fact, our cast would not look anything like it does if it were not for these meetings and the people that are involved in these meetings. So with all that aside, I'm going to I don't even know what we're allowed to say or what we're not allowed to say, but all I can say is this, that big things have happened. I can tell the producers in here that just this morning, while holding my breath, I did get the location locked down for the short, which we are now shooting October 20th. So I have not exchanged money yet. I wanted to come down there and give them a check, and they said no because the lady who does that is sick today. So why don't you know? But I said, well, make sure you put my name in bold on the calendar. Do not let anyone else come in. And because I was just waiting. You're always waiting because there's so many moving parts. Looks like we have everyone locked in as far as the people that need to be a part of this project. And then I was circling back to make sure the location was still available, and I was just waiting for that. Oh no, somebody's coming in to have a birthday party here that morning now. So, but that didn't happen. At least that's what they told me. So until money's exchanged and there's a contract, I won't be super satisfied. But as of right now, my name is big on that calendar, which is huge. All right, Robert, do you want to tell us what we're allowed to say?
Yeah, and I think I was one of the lucky ones to be on the show last time and earlier this week, and we left on a bit of a cliffhanger, right? We kind of were talking about a name that we were going to be meeting with and hoping to be able to close. And then we've had two cast members verbally locked in, and I'm happy to report back. Unlike sometimes when you leave a cliffhanger, it just hangs out there for weeks.
Oh, I know.
I'm happy to report that we have locked down 3 cast members. Names of which, and back to your point too, before I say the names, I'm going to extend the cliffhanger out just a little bit longer. Is what I love about this process, Anderson, and if folks are thinking about signing up and being producers on this project, it is not just lip service. Catherine and I, one of the producers here on the meeting, we're just talking about how collaborative this is. This has been truly a collaborative process, and you take notes and feedback from everybody here, and we wouldn't have these 3 individuals if not for some of the people on this call throwing them out as potential suggestions for the characters. And those names, if we want to do a drum roll or something, is we have our Dexter, and that is Eddie Levy, who folks may know from shows like AP Bio, as well as the other 2. Eddie's a really talented actor, is going to make an amazing Dexter, and Eddie came courtesy of was it you, Eric? I can't remember.
It was Chris.
It was Chris. Yes.
Yes. It was Mr. Hoops himself.
Yes. Chris,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for turning us on. I'd seen Eddie in AP Bio and the other 2 in particular. And it like when you said his name as a potential for Dexter, it was like, yes. And I think Anderson had the same feeling once.
Well, yeah.
His reels.
I went and I looked at what I do, and when people throw names, I mean, I'm not always familiar with, I'm a movie guy primarily. You guys know that, and I've not seen AP Bio as much as I love Glenn Howerton. I just haven't had the time to watch that show as good as it looks. So I was not terribly familiar with Eddie, but I take all, especially with this group and for people with people that are involved in this project, like everyone's heart is in the right place, and a lot of people have really good ideas and they can see the vision. So when Chris, who I go way back with Chris, when he has a good idea, of course I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to anybody who has an idea in this group. And first thing I did was I watched his demo reel and all of his best clips from AP Bio in particular. And it was pretty early on that I'm like, yes, this guy is definitely got the Dexter vibe that we're looking for. So I was thrilled to find somebody that could work. And then you cross your fingers, hold your breath, and you send off an offer, and you get in touch with their people. And that's what Robert comes in, does that side of things. And this is weeks ago now, and when Eddie's people and
Yeah.
Eddie himself said yes.
Eddie was one of our first folks cast, and I'm kind of going in order of that chronology. And next up was Steve, our character, the character Steve, and that was someone who was top of your list, Anderson, from the beginning. Always had this person in mind, and like lucky to get him. I literally just watched Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead last week with my girls, and it still holds up. They love it, and they love the character that Keith Coogan plays in theirs. And we managed. Keith was so enthusiastic about signing on, and has just been a pleasure since signing on, communicating with us regularly, trying to fit everything into the schedule. Such a joy to be able to have Keith on, who's just been such a big part of the movies that I've seen growing up.
Yeah, I watched Hiding Out on a loop with John Cryer growing up as well, and Don't Tell Mom and The Babysitter's Dead, as well as Adventures in Babysitting. And I also worked with Keith Coogan before I was in radio, and actually even went out with a small group after an event and had drinks with the guy, and realized way back then, like, just a stand-up solid human being. And that's one of the top things that came to my mind when we were trying to look at potential cast members, is like people that are going to get this project that we're all going to want to work with, because there's almost always one, and we're not done yet. We still have some roles to fill, but there's almost always one that kind of is difficult, or not on the same page as everyone else. And so far we don't have anybody like that attached to the project. Now, you producers who are on this meeting as well, you have heard these names before, but what you have not heard is that they are officially signed on now, because of something else that we haven't really I think been clear with on this meeting anyways, is that Robert has come through and got the SAG after rep on board to approve this project officially. So we are an approved project. Even though shorts were not struck, as I say, from the get-go, you still need to get approval and signatory, as they call it. And all of the hoops that Robert went through to get this to be official, so that these actors can not only sign on, but now we can actually talk to them. Before, we weren't even allowed to talk to them. So yeah, a lot has happened, and it's official now with these two actors. And then, is it official with a third actor as well?
Hey, we had the way he likes to do it, it's like the old firm handshake kind of method. So yeah, we're good talking about the last one, and that was the one that we left as a cliffhanger, that we were off to go chat. In typical fashion, this actor was interested, but wanted to have a chat with Anderson and I about a little bit more about the script and the character and like the origin story. And I think we spent like an hour with this person. Is that right?
I was anticipating maybe 10-15 minutes. He just wanted to make sure that we weren't nut jobs, and then he'd be like, okay, well, I'll think about it some more or whatever. But no, he was deeply interested in what we were trying to get at, what we want to do with this, and where, like like Robert said, like where the story came from. And we did a little workshopping while we were on the phone. I mean, this guy wants to get his hands dirty. He wants to meet sooner than later and start the process of fleshing this character out, which I am absolutely all for. I've always, with anything I've ever written or done, I've always thought whoever gets cast in this role is going to bring their own flavor and their own interpretation to it, depending on how much they actually want to bring. Some actors, they just like, tell me where to be, tell me what to do, tell me how to act. And some are like, I want to bring what I know from my own experiences to this role. And in most cases, that's very, very welcome. So John Kapelos is his name. Am I allowed to say it?
You're allowed to say it. Is going to play
Kapelos,
the titular, as Brian would say, Ben.
He was titular at one point, because at one point this script, the feature length script, was just simply titled Ben. just for simplicity's sake. And the whole movie revolves around this character. And without this character, this movie it doesn't have a prayer. So John Kapelos, you all know him. You've all seen him in something. His credits on IMDb range. They're up at, I think, 209 last I checked. And I think most of us would know him as the wise ass janitor in The Breakfast Club. He was also the sniffing accountant in Seinfeld, and he was also the oily bohunk in 16 Candles. And he's been in tons of other things. And once again, it was his demo reel. I mean, none of those roles that I just mentioned made me think John Kapelos would make a great Ben. It was his demo reel and what he's kind of aged into and become a fairly serious, stern actor with gravitas and range. And I just watched his demo probably 3 times, and each time I was just looking for like reasons why he want to make a great Ben. And we have Catherine to thank for this. She just on her own doing, she got a couple minutes apparently one day. It seemed like probably way more than that, and she really combed through IMDb Pro and sent me a number of names that I had not thought of. And I went through all of those along with all of the others. I mean, there's well over 100 have been looked at this point for Ben, because Ben's so important. And all the demo reels, every time I have 20 minutes, that's what I'm doing over the last number of weeks. And he is one of 2-3 guys that I really believe could play this role effectively, at least the way it's written, without a major rewrite. So like Robert said, we got him on the phone, and he's one of us. He's just down to earth. And I mean, we were cussing by not 20 minutes into the call. It was a little nerve wracking, because it's so close to me. And like when I got to sum up, the pitch of stuff that's been in my head for the last 8 years, I just want to make sure I'm, doing the pitch justice and explaining, where it comes from. But I think he recognized pretty early on that it's a passion project, and that, my heart's in this, and everyone who's involved in this process thus far, their heart is in it. So,
And
great
because
news.
we're a SAG project, a SAG short, we have to keep under $50,000. So when you think about all the money that goes into making a project, none of these folks are doing this for the money per se. So,
No.
they're responding to the project. And I have to say, in John's part, Anderson, because you won't give yourself this credit, I sat quiet 99% of the call. Anderson was doing a fabulous job, not selling, because it wasn't selling, but you said something. It sells itself, but you positioned it in the best possible way. And I'll probably always remember how you said it. I'm going to try to get it right here. Is the thing that stuck with me the most is what you told him is like, I'm not the best filmmaker that you've ever worked with. I'm certainly won't be your worst. But I'm the best filmmaker to make this specific project. And
I
like
believe that. Yeah.
I may have gotten that a little off, but the way you said that, that was for me the moment where I was like, okay, this, John's going to be in at this point.
Good. I'm glad that's helpful too, because when I'm talking to other people, if that resonated with you, what I told him is, he's got 209 credits. I said, I'm not going to be the best director you've ever worked with. He worked with Guillermo del Toro and John Hughes. So I mean, who the hell am I? But I said, I won't be your worst either. I'm sure you worked with worse directors. But as far as this project goes, I am the best director for this particular project. And I do believe that. So those are our 3. Our 4th is half cast, or at least we have. I mean, I kind of have a plan A, but for the project's sake and just for the way that the world works, we still have a plan. We still have something else that's kind of out there, but we're going to probably know one way or the other by end of weekend. And I'm not comfortable saying that name, Robert, because this is being broadcast.
Yeah,
but
no plan to say the name. We're hoping to hear back later today. They've been traveling on vacation, and it's the fact that we've been in discussions with them for it's about a month now, I would say. So no news is good news at this point still, because we're just waiting for them to come back from vacation. But obviously, the movie waits for no one person. Like at some
right.
point,
The show must go on.
Yeah, the show must go on. And we'll, as much as it would pain us to have to move on, we've got.
I'm going to be totally frank. It won't bother me at all. In fact, it'll bother me, I think, the other way. So it's a great problem to have. You guys who are on this call right now, you know what I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. He would be great. I would love to work with this particular actor. Everyone listening is familiar with him and what he's done. And I think it'd do wonders for the project. But at the same time, who I have decided that a more personal choice for me. He's completely on board. Robert, you don't know this yet, but I talked to him last night, and he is completely down to do whatever for the practice. So he's like, I'll be your plan B, man. I get it, but he's very talented, and I have a feeling that either way, we win with this. Yeah, it'll be with that heavy heart if I have to return to my personal choice and say, hey, sorry. But yeah, I hate this. I hate this part of it. I really do. But like I said, good problems to have. So yeah, that's where we're at. I also have a call with so as you know, with the script, it pulls back. We see a real Ben and we see a real Dexter. And I have a call with who I want to play the real Ben later today, who is like the perfect real Ben. And this is another gift from the universe. He's just underfoot. I see him all the time, and he is an actor. So I think I got my real Ben. I'm going to be calling him from karate today when I'm at Atticus the Karate. He's available that date. He doesn't know why I want to talk to him about that date, but I think that he'll be involved. And now that we have dates locked in, I'm going to begin calling parents of our Born to Act players individually and figuring out if they would be interested. Because it's not just the actors. Obviously, the parents will also be put out and have to be there. Some of the actors take access and are very independent, but some usually have a parent that takes them. So I have my list of people that I think would be best fits for this, and here we go. Here we go. The project is coming. Final note for me: I just spoke moments ago. I wrapped up with Nick from Entertainment to Affect Change, and he sent me over the most recent donor list. He is very excited. He didn't even know about the short until now. And he totally sees what we're doing and how important it is and how exciting it is. He also gave me some other tips. Nick, the way that he thinks, Nick runs Entertainment to Affect Change, which is a nonprofit, and it raises money for projects that are designed to change public perception about important social issues, and obviously ours fits that bill. And Nick says, if this is successful and you have a good time making this short, this could be something you do annually with this group and use it as a fundraiser for Mary Rings and the Born to Act players. And it's just an annual thing. And you get, like guest stars from the business, from Hollywood, to come in and, fill in these roles. And, it doesn't even have to be something I write. It could be, we can get short script submissions type thing. And like there could be something here if it works out well and it's fun for everybody. So could evolve into something even more important for the Born to Act players. So I love that idea. I never thought of it until I talked to Nick. So that's the kind of resource Nick is. Not only is he our fiscal sponsor with allowing it to be a 501c3 and a tax write-off for just about everybody that gives to the project, but he also has great ideas and contacts. So yes. Cool.
Two quick things.
Yes.
You also are going to have to call parents to get the kids to be in the cast, in the crew as well. Don't forget that. And then are you going to read out names of recent donations and stuff? Because that's something.
Oh, because I forgot that we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
I don't.
And you forgot to post you and Rob last week, by the way. I didn't see it. Only on YouTube.
No, it's on Patreon. I'm pacing it out.
Oh,
yeah, because I realized that for whatever reason it didn't go up to the regular feed last week.
Got it.
I don't know what that was about. I don't know why it didn't, but maybe I post both of yeah, maybe I post this one tomorrow now. I don't know. It's kind of stacking up now, but yeah, maybe I don't want to skip Rob's.
I say
now you just bum me out.
Throw them all up, man. Throw them all up. People will digest when they feel ready.
But I mean, the film vault just got posted today too. Oh my god!
You're not a regular podcast listener. Look, just give it to me. I'll put it in the playlist and I'll get to it when I get to.
Here are the most recent donors. Mike E. Joseph, thank you very much. Anonymous, appreciate that. Jared Shaw. Hope I'm saying Jared right. Matthew Ritzner is back again. Lisa G. I think that's the Lisa G I know from camp. If so, hi, Lisa G. I don't know if you're listening to this, but William Rooney has given big, and he's the guy that I was trying to make sure that he had the invite for this right before, because I just got his email. Alex Simpson is back, and then Jennifer Carey. That's right, Unlock It's herself just donated 2 hours ago. So as I speak these words, so yeah, we are getting we're making strides, leaps and bounds. And it's fantastic. And Chris Hoops, Chris Moran. I let you know yesterday when we were on the phone that I would let you know as soon as late dates are locked. It looks like they're locked, sir, as of maybe an hour ago. So,
yep.
If you're coming out, book the flights. There will be spots to come hang out on set and watch. That goes for you, Eric and Florence, and Eric as well. So, yeah. 2 of the 3 cast members would not be cast, I don't think, if it wasn't for this group. So it's a collective, and yeah, it's always a room is always going to produce better things than one stubborn mind. So, yes. Any questions, guys? Any suggestions? Anything else?
Is it going to be a?
Oh, go ahead. Whoever's
Go ahead.
talking.
Is it going to be a 1-day shoot or 2?
1 day.
Okay.
And I got clearance from my producer that I can run my crew into the ground for 24 hours.
Yeah, it'll feel like 2 days.
Yeah.
We're doing it in one.
Good thing
Okay.
I'm not a part of the crew.
I know. Yeah,
When does the schedule start on the 20th? Like, what time are you starting?
Great point.
probably like 7A. 7A. I'm probably most likely the night before actually is when we're going to do a load in and maybe build part of the set the night before. I think that's going to take a few hours, and I just need to get that cleared from the location. But yeah, I would imagine that we're going to load in, have things set up, maybe even pre-light the night before, and then start shooting. Probably hair and makeup call like 7 a.m. Hopefully start shooting by 9 at the latest, because one of our actors needs to be out by 4 for their first. It's 2 halves of the day that we're doing, and if we're still shooting at 4, we're in big trouble for the second shoot, which is more involved. So very ambitious.
Does it matter for any of us showing up? Does it matter what time we're getting there? I'm flying in. If I'm able to do it, I'm flying in from New York.
Jeez, you going out in New York, Florence?
I'm going to the Vogue offices.
Wow.
Oh,
That
look
was
at
some
Florence.
flex.
And now you still want us to believe that pushing, the subtle push-in last week and the fan blowing your hair in the wind was a mistake when you're going to Vogue?
Yeah, the few days before I was at the Beyonce concert, so I have a constant wind machine on myself now.
I got you. It's in your contract, your life contract. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't. The office stuff is what we're shooting first, which will be the smallest set piece, and the Born Act players won't even be called the set until the second half. So we're shooting the evil side of the short first, and then the loving side second. And that's another thing. I don't want to keep these guys up too late because I think a lot of them are on school schedules, and they probably are
Saturday.
used to. Well, yeah, it will be a Saturday, but still, I think that a lot of these guys have a routine, and you don't like to interrupt that routine too much if you can. But we'll see. And I got to figure out before I even start making these calls, exactly what the pay is going to be and all that stuff, and if it's going to differ from. So we have so many different roles that we're going to offer these guys. So all good stuff. Any other questions?
I was about to say, what did you and Mickey get to shoot? What are you going to shoot on?
What are we going to shoot on?
Yeah.
It's going to be a Panavision camera. I don't know what if the strike is still going on, or even if it's not, with the lack of productions. I would imagine we're going to have kind of pick of the litter, whatever Mickey feels most comfortable with and wants to play with. There's no like action sequences or anything that we're going to need specific smaller cameras or anything like that. It's going to be pretty locked down and fluid, but we might I know that a friend of ours who's a very, very good Steadicam operator wants to be involved, so we might work that in. Right now the shooting the shot list is still a work in progress and pretty flex. Those of you who listen to After Disaster, you hear that Mike Carano was involved with our first scheduled shot list meeting, and Mike he did a lot of interrupting, and as you might imagine, I can't even explain what he spent 20 minutes on taking away from that meeting, but it was comical. I can tell you that much. I'll tell you real quick in case you haven't heard. There's a shot called like the cowboy shot, right? And that's what Mickey was suggesting, right, when Mike showed up, which is just like pretty much just like where you show the holsters and you show the guns, and it's like a classic shot, and you see like waist up. Mike Carano thought that Mickey was suggesting that somehow his brain went here. He thought that Mickey was suggesting we get stock footage from an old cowboy movie where it's just a cowboy's black and white shot of a cowboy's like waist down with the guns, and we're going to superimpose that over our Steve character who is wearing a suit in an office yelling on the phone, and he was going to suggest that he is part cowboy, and he loved that idea and he wanted to explore that. And I'm like, Mike, that's not what that means. It's something completely different. And Mike said, no, it's a great idea. You should do this. And that took up about 20 minutes of our 2-hour meeting. So that's the that's what I'm dealing with. Michael. All right. Great meeting, guys. And thanks for everyone who listened. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring to the program before we bring to their meeting before we I'm still in kind of like show mode, sorry.
Loadedforbeardoc.com, loadedforbeardoc.com. Don't stop
Thank
donating.
you. Yes, loadedforbeardoc.com.
Finish phase 1, open in phase 2.
That's right. Very good. Thank you, Joe. Tam is really good at making me do all that too, and she's not here. So Tam like yells at me off away from the meeting. She's like, "You're just so bad. You need to plug." I've been doing better on the other shows though this week, and it's really showing. Thank you very much. Good. Thank you very much to everyone who's, because I was waking up and ulcers were forming when I was thinking, all right, we got all these things in place. Now where am I going to find the money? And you guys are coming through. We're getting closer to being able to, fund this thing, and we're still 5 weeks out. But I already told Mike to ease up, that I can't pay him for the short term because that has to kind of take a back seat. But we keep rolling the way we're rolling. Mike will be able to continue what he's doing, which he's going to do anyways, probably. But yeah, we're going to be documenting all of this leading up to the short and the whole thing, and shooting the short, obviously. And it's all very, very good stuff.
Great job to Rob on everything with the strike. Listening to the last episode, I was very fascinated by everything that was done with the unions, and wow, like amazing job, guys. Good job, Rob.
Thank you so much. I have a feeling, Florence, when I meet you, I think we're going to get along really well. And I will help you do all the crafty work if you're still interested in doing that.
Yeah, I am. I've been looking at flights because I didn't know what the date was till right now. And so I was going to be flying back to Phoenix on the 20th. So now I'm trying to change it to LA. So I don't know what time it puts me there and how much of a mess I'll be, but I would like to try to do it and get everybody fed on the set.
It seems like you're biting off a lot, and I want you to come and enjoy yourself, Lawrence. And if you have to like fly in LAX and go straight to Costco or something, I don't love that idea. I don't love it. We'll figure it out. We'll talk.
Yeah, that's what delivery's for. So we'll figure it out.
All right, guys. And then Eric Robbins and I were talking about some storage stuff too, which I think, Eric, you and I will catch up with that sooner than later, because I want to say that's not pressing, but all of a sudden it will be pressing, and we'll need it all in place, like yesterday type thing. So we should probably stay on the ball with that. But Eric's coming up with a great workaround as far as sharing data. It's very revolutionary, state of the art type stuff. So excited to get that in place and talk more about that as we move forward.
I made some progress there, so whenever you want to have a call, just let me know.
Great. It's the type of thing where we're going to be able to share all of our footage at lightning speed, almost, like to people like Joe needs some of the footage, and he doesn't really have much of it other than what I afford him, as well as whoever we get as our editor for not only this project, but everything. It's the way things are going to be moving forward for a lot of big productions, but they aren't just standard yet. And we're, thanks to Eric, we're getting there on this one. So cool. Catherine, thank you very much for 1/3 of the cast. It goes to you, Chris. Thank you very much for 1/3 of the cast. And like Robert kind of led off with, there's no bad ideas. Anytime you have an idea, even if you think it's bad, feel free. If it's bugging you and it's festering, feel free to throw it our way. And we listen to everything. And so far, the project's only that much better because of it. So thank you. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much for listening. Like Joe said, loadedforbeardoc.com is where you go for all good things. A lot of the time, there's matches that your company does. Every bit helps, and yeah, we got a really, really big day that we're leading up to now. So the documentary right now, the focus is we're doing rehearsals. We're singing Christmas songs just last night. It's weird because it's still very hot outside, but looks like Atticus is going to be playing Tiny Tim in the production of, which is fun. So we're documenting this stuff as the rehearsals lead up to the Christmas show. And now that we're getting much closer to the short and that being actually locked in and a reality, we are going to be obviously focusing on that and documenting that and getting some of our actors thoughts on it and feelings and excitement and apprehension and rehearsals. And I'm going to hopefully be doing table reads with them as well. And yeah, a lot to document. And yeah, we already got in trouble once. Talk about it after that a little bit, but one of our interviews went south. We got yelled at. We got shut down, and then we were supposed to reshoot that 2 days ago, but that particular subject got very, very sick the night before, and I'm worried about him and his health. But that's what happens when you're working with a large community. Like, so, anyways, I think he's okay now, though. I checked in with him yesterday. All right, thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend, and we will most likely get back next Friday for this. Last words, last thoughts.
LordForBearDoc.com.
Bye, everybody.
LordForBearDoc.com.